Morning, folks. I'm going to read to you a little bit out of the McAlvany Intelligence Advisor. This is out of the February 2010 issue. Americans feel increasingly disheartened, and our leaders don't even notice. The new economic statistics put growth at a healthy 3.5% for the third quarter. We should be dancing in the streets. No one is, because no one has any faith in these numbers. Waves of money are sloshing through the system, creating a false rising tide that lifts all boats for the moment. The tide will recede. The boats aren't rising, they're bobbing, and will settle. No one believes the bad times is over. No one thinks we're entering a new age of abundance. No one thinks it will ever be the same as before 2008. Economists, statisticians, forecasters, and market specialists will argue about what the new numbers mean, but nobody believes them either. Among the things swept away in 2008 was public confidence in the experts. The experts missed the crash. They'll miss the meaning of this moment, too. That was Peggy Noonan out of the Wall Street Journal, 10/30/09. Tim Geithner not only extended the TARP through October 2010, he turned the bailout fund into political slush fund to bestow goodies on the populace. That's Bill King from 12/10/09. Government pays its workers, and we all know how productive they are, 44.8% more than the private sector. It's the great U.S. productivity miracle. Government also pays 220% more for health care benefits than the private sector pays. This is a simple algebra problem that concludes in financial ruin. Bill King again from 12/10/09. It goes on for a little bit further, but let's get down to the crux. How can we go from the deepest U.S. depression since the 1930s to inflation? Isn't inflation a sign of economic growth, even prosperity? Answer: all hyperinflations come out of deflationary depressions as monetary authorities overexpand or massively inflate the money supply to fight the depression, and the over-dilution of the money supply causes prices to mysteriously begin to rise. People, including foreign holders of the currency, begin to exit the currency in increasing numbers and finally stampede out of the currency. This is how it happened in Weimar Germany and more recently in Zimbabwe. As one contemplates the current actions on Wall Street, no doubt driven by massive greed and corruption, and the actions of the Fed, the U.S. Treasury, the super-socialist Obama administration, and the socialist Democrat-controlled Congress, several conclusions come to mind. 1. They are destroying the remnants of capitalism, free enterprise, and wealth in America, except for the wealth of the elite, as well as destroying the U.S. dollar. 2. It is not just about greed and terminal stupidity. It is intentional. The socialists, Marxists, globalists in power in Washington and on Wall Street, including the Fed, want to destroy the U.S. dollar and economy. It is a well-calculated strategy. 3. But why? Because they are globalists, like the old Marxists or communists in the former Soviet Union or in Red China today. Globalists like Kissinger and Brzezinski wrote over 30 years ago that America had to be taken down as a great world power and reduced to rough equivalency to China, Russia, and Europe before we could comfortably be merged into one world government they called the New World Order. 4. The U.S. dollar must be destroyed before it can be replaced as the world's reserve currency by a new world currency. This new currency, being discussed and aggressively pushed at financial meetings in Europe and Asia in the latter half of 2009, will initially be a basket of currencies, perhaps including the dollar and maybe even gold, and ultimately a pure one world currency issued by the new one world government. British Prime Minister Gordon Brown has recently been very vocal about a new one world currency. Number 5. America's manufacturing base has been systematically destroyed over the past 30 years. It's down 85 to 90%. Again, not an accident or by stupidity, but a calculated strategy by the global socialists running America to reduce America to a common denominator, non-superpower status, with the above-mentioned power blocks, and to make sure that any future world war scenario, think the new Axis powers, China, Russia, radical Islam, America could not again massively rearm as we did in 1945, 41 through 45. As a part of this long-term strategy to take America down by the global socialists, the formerly great American middle class had to be impoverished. So there would be a giant poor class, the proletariat, which would be dependent on the government for everything, medical care, food, housing, jobs, education, etc., and a small, very wealthy ruling class. This is the most fundamental tenet of Marx's Das Kapital and the Communist Manifesto. In another page from Karl Marx, the Washington Socialists, in order to pay for their socialized medicine train wreck, will raise the taxes for people earning 100 to 200,000 by 29%. What will that do to an already reeling middle class? It makes me wonder how many of these people actually voted for Obama. Okay, number 7. America now has the most leftist, socialist, Marxist government in its 234-year history, freely elected as the Nazis were in 1933, in alliance with Wall Street, the Fed, and the globalist establishment, which is now moving at Mach 10 speed to destroy the last remaining remnants of the U.S. Constitution and the Americans' freedoms. And number 8. America is plunging toward a financial, economic, and political dictatorship. Think socialized medicine legislation. Think new regulations of entire U.S. financial industry, which passed the U.S. House 121109. And this dictatorship could be about to go global. Watch England as a preview of coming attractions. The American government is now trying to dictate to financial institutions all over the world. Something to think about, folks.